Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are going to completely dismantle the myth of innate talent. But first, think about your favorite role-playing video game for a second. You know the drill. When you start out, your character is always at level 1. They're weak, they don't know any spells, and honestly, their stats are just terrible. But you don't look at that character and say, well, I guess they were just born untalented. No, you take them out, you complete quests, you earn experience points, and you intentionally level them up until they are absolutely unstoppable. Well, what if I told you that your actual physical brain works the exact same way? Today, we are diving into a really fascinating framework called the Mind Development Protocol. We're going to break down how to stop treating talent like some magical genetic gift and start treating it exactly like a muscle that you can systematically train and level up. So, let's tackle a massive question right off the bat. Are you born with a creative mind, or can you actually build one? We've all had those moments, right? Where we look at brilliant artists or visionary innovators or world-class problem solvers, and we just assume they won some cosmic genetic lottery. We convince ourselves that they were just born with a shiny, rare innovator gene, while the rest of us are out here struggling just to remember our own Wi-Fi passwords. It's incredibly frustrating to feel capped by your own biology. But what if talent isn't a magical gift handed out at birth? What if creativity, genius, and deep focus are simply states of mind that anyone, literally anyone, can methodically achieve as long as they have the right rulebook? Take Roman Golovac, for example. He's the actual creator of the Mind Development Protocol. At 24 years old, he felt like he didn't have a creative bone in his body. He spent his early 20s incredibly jealous of creative people, fully believing that he was just dealt a bad hand in the talent department. But then, a light bulb went off. He realized he didn't need to be born with it. He could just start playing the mind development game. By actively applying a structured system to his daily life, his transformation was completely staggering. Within just 3 years, he went from having zero programming knowledge to founding an IT company. He created and produced a full music album, and he became a published writer. He literally leveled up his own stats in real life. To really wrap our heads around how our beliefs completely lock our potential, we have to look at the legendary story of Bob Beamon at the 1968 Olympics. Before this specific long jump event, athletes were trapped inside an imaginary mental box. The world record was inching up by tiny millimeter fractions. Everyone believed the human body simply possessed a hard physical limit. Then, Bob Beamon takes his jump. He sprints down the runway, launches into the air, and completely shatters the world record by an unbelievable 55 centimeters. I mean, he jumped so far the optical measuring device couldn't even read it. But the real punchline here isn't Beamon's jump. It's what happened next. By the very next Olympics, almost half the competitors were jumping past the old world record. The physical limits hadn't changed at all, but the mental barrier was destroyed. And that's exactly what the Mind Development Protocol is designed to do for your daily life. It proves that genius-level thinking isn't a physical limit, it's just a mental barrier waiting to be shattered. Okay, moving into section 1. What exactly is the Mind Development Protocol? We're calling this your mental GPS. We know leveling up is possible, but we need the specific tool to get us there. Think of your brain a bit like a brand new, top-of-the-line smartphone. Right now, humanity is living in an age of unbelievable infrastructure. We've got the entire internet, artificial intelligence, endless digital libraries, all right in our pockets. Your phone has access to all of it. But, and this is a huge but, if the battery is dead, that $1,000 piece of glass is completely useless. The Mind Development Protocol is the battery. It isn't some mystical secret or vague self-help philosophy. It's a highly specific, structured set of rules and exercises designed to literally power up your brain. It gives you the exact principles you need to actually download all that incredible information out there and use it to elevate your consciousness. Do you guys remember the old days of printing out MapQuest directions? You'd be driving down the highway, constantly checking the paper, gripping the steering wheel, completely filled with anxiety that you were going to miss your exit and end up lost in the middle of nowhere. It was incredibly stressful. Then GPS was invented. Suddenly, the anxiety vanished. You could relax, listen to some music, and actually enjoy the drive because you had absolute confidence that the system would guide you to your destination. Well, personal growth usually feels a lot like those old MapQuest directions. You try a new habit, you doubt if it's working, and you end up frustrated and just quit. This protocol acts as your mental GPS. It completely removes the anxiety of getting lost, giving you the total peace of mind required to actually grow. Right, let's hit section 2, deep understanding, or the power of why. This is the fundamental engine that makes this entire navigation system work. So there's this old parable about 3 stonemasons working on a construction site. You walk up to the first mason and ask, "What are you doing?" Sweating and miserable, he groans, "I'm carrying heavy stones." It's an exhausting, terrible burden to him. You walk up to the second mason, who looks a bit bored, and he says, "I'm building a wall to earn a wage. It's just a job." But then you walk up to the third mason. He is doing the exact same grueling physical labor as the other two, but his eyes are bright, he's energetic, and he says proudly, "I am building a magnificent temple." The action is completely identical for all three men. What changes everything is their internal why. When you apply this temple-building clarity to the actions of your own mind, your results absolutely multiply. Let's look at how this applies to a really common habit, like meditation. If you just tell yourself to sit cross-legged and breathe for 10 minutes entirely out of obligation, just because some health guru on the internet told you it was good for you, it's gonna be a miserable burden. You're gonna be bored, you'll resist it, and eventually you're gonna quit. It's like staring at dry dirt and expecting a flower to bloom. But what if you approach it with deep understanding? What if you realize that by sitting there, you are actively watering the seeds of your concentration, bringing down your stress hormones, and physically expanding your mental capacity? It completely transforms the exercise. You aren't just sitting in silence anymore. You are actively soaking your brain in growth. You are building your temple. Moving right along to section 3, the ultimate umbrella goal. We're taking that temple-building mindset and completely redefining success. Look, we have all set a massive goal for ourselves, failed to achieve it, and felt completely miserable afterward. Traditional goals are incredibly fragile because they are tied purely to an outcome. Let's say your goal is to learn to code, specifically to get a new tech job. You spend a month studying, you take the interview, and you don't get the job. You feel like a total failure, and all that effort feels entirely wasted. But the protocol introduces a brilliant hack called an umbrella goal that makes it literally impossible to lose. Instead of the job being the primary goal, your overarching umbrella goal becomes, "I am learning to code to develop my logical thinking and expand my mind." Under that umbrella, even if you failed the job interview, guess what? You still achieved your main goal. Your brain got stronger. You leveled up your stats. You win every single time. And the best part? You don't need extra hours in your day, and you certainly don't need to retreat to some isolated mountaintop to start doing this. You simply take the ordinary, mundane tasks you're already doing anyway and place them under that umbrella goal. How does cooking dinner become a mental workout? Well, instead of mindlessly chopping onions while you're distracted by a podcast and stressing about your workday, you bring your full, intense attention to the precision of the knife. You make the conscious decision to use the act of cooking as a deep, focused exercise. You are building your temple through chopping onions. Suddenly, the most routine chores become a continuous, heroic journey of mental expansion. It's a real game changer. Okay, let's bring it all together in section 4, the 100 Challenges game. Let's get incredibly practical about how you can start playing right now. Let's be real for a second. Your brain is fundamentally a bit of a lazy caveman. Its primary survival program is to conserve energy and strictly avoid doing anything hard or new. It loves the cozy status quo. So how do we trick our inner lazy caveman into doing the hard work of leveling up? We gamify it into 100 steps. This is called the Portals method. 100 is the magic number because it gives your brain a very clear, trackable progress bar. Gamification is a concept we instinctively understand. By breaking a massive, scary goal into 100 tiny, playful challenges, your brain stops seeing the effort as a terrifying threat and starts seeing it as a highly addictive game where it desperately wants to fill that progress bar. This method is essentially just lifting weights for your brain. Let's walk through it. First, step 1, you choose your portal, which is any personal challenge. Let's say you commit to learning 100 new vocabulary words in Spanish over 100 days. Second, step 2, you systematically track it. Put a physical chart on your wall and check off those boxes. Third, you complete each day not as a chore, but with the deep understanding that every single Spanish word is adding a brick to your temple. You are actively building your memory capacity. And finally, by step 100, you don't just know a little more Spanish. Your brain has physically and mentally adapted. You've completed the quest, earned your experience points, and successfully reached an entirely new level of capability. So you now have the fully charged battery for your mental smartphone. You have the GPS system that guarantees you will not get lost on your journey, and you have the 100-step game plan right in front of you. The myth of innate talent is completely busted, and the power to level up your own mind is sitting squarely in your hands. I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought to wrap up today's explainer. What is going to be the very first portal you step through to develop your mind?